Today, guys, we are going to be going over how to optimize Season of the Deep. Step 1, obtain this picture right here and make it your wallpaper, as this will greatly enhance your RNG this season. But on a real note, we're going to talk about how to optimize, guys, in order to progress through this season, because the goal is to get all the loot. We're going to be covering fishing, both of the seasonal activities, as well as the split in our loot, and the most optimal way to farm for everything. Now, upon logging in, guys, you're going to be met with a cutscene. No lie, the story's pretty juicy this season. You'll be placed on Titan afterwards, and your first mission will be called The Descent. Pretty straightforward here, guys. Just follow the diamond. Now, when you get to the satellite dish puzzle, just rotate the satellites until the monitors turn blue. And after the interaction with Sloan there at the bottom, you turn around and go through the portal to be teleported then to the Helm. Now, after you use the holo projector, you'll get the next quest called Into the Depths, as well as the seasonal artifact, the NPA Repulsion Regulator. Now, this area in the Helm is known as the Sonar Station and will work as this season's main vendor, where you can focus season the deep Engrams, pick up bounties, receive rank rewards, and bank those fish. You heard that right. You're going to be banking fish. Now, the quest, called Into the Depths, requires you to complete the Salvage Activity, which can be launched from the Destinations tab in the Helm. Now, this is a 6-player match-made activity, and you're going to be collecting Golden Age gear from the shallows of the Kraken Mare. This is, of course, for the Drifter himself. This activity has 2 versions for now that both will start you in different locations. Both also offer a bunch of smaller goals within them, all of which are random each time you run the event as you make your way from job site to job site. Now, they're all pretty straightforward. Just follow the objective. Sometimes you'll be carrying heavy parts to fix cranes, defeating a portal, deactivating explosions, destroying crystals, etc. Now, if you ever find yourself having to carry heavy objects, there are lots of that in this season. If you actually jump in melee, you can move much faster, like literally a sword animation. Now, as you make your way underwater for the final encounter room, you'll be tasked to defeat 4 of Asphoddat's Rune Keepers, which are immune enemies around the area. The final boss of this activity is located in a green bubble in the center of the area, and you won't be able to damage him until the next phase of the encounter, as first you must defeat the Rune Keepers. Now, how this works is a large hive symbol will appear in the air, and you need to find where that symbol is. You'll be hovering over one of the plates in the room, and upon finding the matching symbol, you stand under it, and you'll obtain the buff Heinous Rite. This will let you damage the immune Rune Keepers. Now, the center rune will change when the countdown reaches 0, forcing you to a different plate. Now, once all the Rune Keepers are killed, the boss will be freed, but with an immune shield. Now, essentially, you just rinse and repeat, this time standing on the correct plate, matching the symbol in the air, and taking down the immune shield of the boss to do damage. Now, you can essentially one-face the boss here, guys. If you don't, you'll have to go through this process again, and essentially just repeat until he's finally dead, allowing you to finally grab that loot. Now, next, you have to complete the mission Operation Thunderbolt, which can be launched from the Helm. Now, this is not match-made, and can be in a fire team of up to 3 players. Now, when you first load into this mission, you'll be given a choice between 2 buffs, a new mechanic Destiny hasn't done before. This can be things like buffing your strength or your discipline, amplifying your kinetic damage, increasing all precision damage. Again, just choose based on the build you're currently rocking. Now, once you drop down into the water, you'll have to pull some levers to open the doors, and then make your way through the underwater tunnels, picking up the bubbles as you go. Now, if you're having a hard time finding those levers to pull, again, sound cues are your friend here. Just listen for it, guys. There's also a little blinking light there, so you'll be able to pick out where it is. I do highly advise, though, not picking up those bubbles immediately. Try to locate where the lever is, and don't go through there and just picking up all the bubbles, because you will run out and you will die. Now, once you make it to the door, that's the first encounter of this mission. All you have to do is just slay out, kill enemies, and then pick up the fuel cells they drop to charge the drill. Keep doing this until the drilling is 100% complete, and then you'll be transmatted to the next area. Here, you're gonna plant the Egregore Resonator, and the next door will open to the boss encounter. Now, this is actually very simple. It's similar to the boss from the Prison of Elder Strike. Every time you get him down a segment, he'll teleport you into a bubble room. Kill the mini servitors in there to then be released. And essentially just rinse and repeat. I will say though, guys, this mission solo can mess you up, so have some good gear, as that burn effect hurts. Now, open the chest at the end to complete the mission. Next, you'll be required to go talk to Sloan at the Helm through the portal, and then again at the holo projector. Then you'll finally be able to claim the Deep Challenger Seasonal Challenge. Now, this is your seasonal challenges menu. Now, there is a second new tab within that menu called Seasonal Bonuses. Now, seasonal bonuses are what we have this season instead of that seasonal grid unlock system that we've been so accustomed to. These are unlocked by completing specific mission objectives. and are applied immediately to all characters on your account as soon as the associated challenge is claimed. Now think of these bonus challenges as if you took the seasonal grid vendor system from our past seasons and converted them into seasonal challenges that are mostly all available to complete right now without having to wait for more story or weekly resets. Now some might still require you to wait as they require you to defeat certain bosses, but that all depends on if the boss are on a weekly rotation or if they're immediately available at once, and if it's just the luck of the draw or maybe even a daily rotation. We're still trying to figure that out. Now the Deep Challenger challenge you just completed makes it so that completing a weekly activity challenge grants the chance to earn an additional Deep Engram when completing activities. Now this resets weekly, and this is the only challenge that resets weekly. And we're assuming next week you'll say complete week 2 of Into the Depths instead of week 1. So essentially, if you do the weekly story, then claim this challenge, you'll have the chance to earn an extra Deep Engram from activities. Now other bonus challenges net you armor focusing, as well as Season the Deep and Reckoning weapon focusing, bonus reputation from salvage and deep dive activities, and 1 per week focusable guaranteed deep sight weapon. Then you're done with the week 1 story mission, besides listening to the audio messages there in the Helm. But Sloan should have also given you another quest called Gone Fishing, which tasks you to go speak with Hawthorne. That's right guys, we have fishing in the game. She'll give you a fishing tackle, which can be found in your inventory. Now this is a container for bait that can be used to catch higher quality fish. Now you can fish without any bait, but your catches will likely be of lower quality. Now you collect bait by completing salvage, deep dive, playlist activities, public events, patrols, or by collecting destination materials. Now this also tells you how much bait that you can hold, where to find fishing spots, and at the bottom, which gets updated, this tells you where there is increased fishing activity. Now while you're at Hawthorne, you can also pick up a quest that Hawthorne is offering under the Last Wish raid tab, which tasks you with completing all encounters of the Last Wish raid. Now all Last Wish raid weapons have been reintroduced with new perk pools, and guys, they are craftable. I know, so many goodies, and yes, we're going to be jumping into those, and we're going to be farming them with viewers. If you guys are interested, feel free to come by our Twitch. Now the next Gone Fishing quest step is to collect 20 bait. Now bait rewards so far, at least from what we collected, are these values right here. About 18 from salvage, 15 from deep dives, 7 from a crucible match, 10 from strikes, 9 from gambits, 8 from heroic public events, 2 from patrols, 1 from destination materials, and 3 from regular lost sectors. Granted, there's fluctuations here and there, but that's about the roundabout numbers we came to. Now once you have 25 baits, you'll be asked to go catch fish in the outskirts of the EDZ. It'll actually be marked on your map, and once you get to the outskirts, look for the beacon in the sky, which will essentially be this white light, and that's what a fishing spot locations are marked with. Now once you get there, a tutorial will pop up telling you how the fishing mechanic works. It's very simple guys. Use your interact button, drop your cork, wait for it to go down, pull the rod, and you even see right there guys, there's some text that will pop up saying perfect catch. And that's essentially when you want to reel it in. Now after you catch enough fish, you'll be sent to the next fishing hole in the cistern on Nessus. Now keep in mind, if you're wandering around and you're like, dude, I'm looking for my fishing spot, I can't find it anywhere. If a public event is in that area, sometimes the fishing locations disappear. You actually will need to go over there and either beat the public events or just wait for it to be over in order to actually get that fishing spot to spawn back in. I know, kind of annoying, especially if you've got the squad and you're all fishing together, and we're going to get into exotic fish in just a moment. But yes, public events, when they spawn in, will result in your fishing spot disappearing. Now the next step requires you to go to the fishing hole in the miasma at the throne world, which I predict is going to be the best place to fish. Look at this swamp. Now after you've done your fishing, you now need to go to the Helm to deposit your fish into the aquarium. That's right guys, we're not eating them. No, we're just taking them home and turning them into our pets. Now this gives you various rewards depending on the rarity of the fish and the amount of fish you deposit. Now depositing legendary fish nets you legendary weapons. You can also get keys from this, although it's not guaranteed. I turned in my legendary fish and I actually got a deep dive key. Now depositing rare fish will net you solar station reputation, which is key for ranking up. And depositing uncommon fish just simply nets you glimmer. Now I have no idea what an exotic fish will net you, as I tried so hard to get one, but those bastards just weren't dropping. Now I'm assuming exotic armor, or at least I would hope so, right? Or a guaranteed key, which would be really, really nice. But there are ways to improve your drop chances, and it's actually friendship, or in this case, fishing with friends. That's right guys, simply going to a fishing spot with some friends and maybe even have blueberries in the surrounding area also come to the fishing spot. Every time someone catches a legendary or higher fish, focus fishing there at the bottom left, that bar increases. Now as you and the surrounding guardians accumulate more legendary fish or higher, fire, this will fill in more of those bars. And every time you actually fill in one of the bars, guys, you'll see text at the bottom of the screen saying things like more fish are beginning to gather, which is around like the halfway mark. But it actually gets insane, as once you complete all 4 bars, you'll get a text at the bottom that says it's a fishing frenzy out here. Now what this really means is that fish are biting way more often. But keep in mind, it really does come down to RNG. I was fishing for a good while, but I was mainly just getting blues and greens and occasionally a legendary, but no exotics. Whereas one of the blueberries next to us got 2 exotic fish in a row. All I can tell you guys is just pay attention, and every time you see that cork go down, reel her in, and you even see it there at the bottom left in your screen, perfect catch. Again, we're just kind of assuming that the exotic fish are going to give you exotic armor and a guaranteed key, but I have not been able to confirm that. Feel free to let me know. Now, upon doing all of this, guys, you can then go speak with Hawthorne in the tower, and this will finish out the quest. Now that you finish your quest, let's explain the seasonal gameplay loop, so that as you complete activities throughout the system, you'll be collecting salvage keys as well as deep dive keys. Now, salvage and deep dive chests contain seasonal gear that can be found at the end of their respective activities. Now, the keys improve the rewards from the respective chests, with this being essentially the same system as last season, where you can still get rewards from the final chests in these activities, but you get more rewards if you have keys. Now, you also can decrypt deep Engrams, acquired by completing activities and redeeming keys. And this can be done at the sonar station in the Helm to claim specific season of the deep gear and weapons. And once again, completing seasonal challenges in the seasonal bonuses category grants sonar station upgrades, which provides a variety of benefits, which we talked about earlier. Now, also doing these activities nets you bait for more fishing, which can lead to legendary weapons and possibly red borders. Now, I will say these keys are not exactly plentiful. After doing one of each playlist activity, 2 salvages and 2 deep dives, as well as a few public events, Jared got 1 deep dive key, and that was actually from a deep dive tier 2 chest. For guaranteed ways though of getting these keys, they are on the season pass ranks, with some of them being in the sonar station ranks. Now, I did get a key when turning in fish, so that's another way of getting yourself some keys. But it's our understanding that the main sources for getting these keys, and again, it's not guaranteed, are in the seasonal activities themselves and when turning in legendary or higher fish. And this is what we know as of now, which takes us to the cheesy portion of this video, which is actually us rehashing an older farm that we did when farming Defiant Engrams. And that's actually farming the Shadow Throne. Essentially, guys, the boss encounter last season would drop Defiant Engrams, as well as Defiant keys. This was an old farm that we used to do, and we didn't know if it was going to work here, but turns out it does. Matter of fact, ZK was running it all last night, and yes, deep Engrams are dropping, as well as deep dive and salvage keys. Now keep in mind, guys, still not guaranteed, and if you remember this farm from way back when, you load into this checkpoint, you kill the 3 knights, collect the orbs, and then shred the hive wizard. You could do this in like less than 60 seconds, and you can still get drops of Defiant Engrams, but you can also get deep Engrams with a chance of getting a key. Now, when I was observing ZK doing his runs, the keys weren't necessarily just like raining on him, but considering how fast you can do this activity over and over, this is actually a good way, and similar to what we did last season, as you would max out on Defiant keys really fast and collect a ton of Defiant Engrams. And again, when it comes to shredding the boss, rockets are really good. Warcliff is fantastic here. Literally like 2 Warcliffs easily shreds this boss. And if you happen to be looking for a checkpoint, we'll actually be passing this checkpoint along tomorrow, and you can come by our Discord. Folks will be in there passing the checkpoint as well. Now, lastly, I do want us to talk about deep dives. This is another seasonal activity and basically the operation mission that you did earlier, but this time it's match made and has new rules, which you can view at the bottom left hand of the screen when you have deep dives selected. So here are the rules. Successfully complete as many randomly chosen timed encounters as you can before being caught by the foes hunting you. Reach the seafloor to turn the tables, turning the hunters into the hunted. Now, power levels are fixed, and each depth activates a new modifier for the remainder of the activity and increases all combatant power levels over your player's power levels. You also have Asa's gift, where you choose one of 2 random gifts from Asa that we talked about earlier. Again, this just depends on the build that you're rocking. And Wrathful Predator, where final blows on these unique combatants will reward your fire team additional time on the objective timer. Now, victory at each depth increases the rewards and challenges of the next. Opt in with your entire fire team to trigger pressure trial versions of activities for even greater rewards. So guys, basically you load in, and you can actually choose to go in with the fire team or even select the match-made version of this activity. Now, how this actually works is when you load in, you've got a timer that is constantly counting down, and as long long as you destroy the festering anchors, which are these fallen Titanfall tank looking dudes, and then collect the fossilized coral near them. Once they are destroyed and are able to collect 6 coral, then you'll get tier 1 rewards. And after you collect those 6 coral, enemies will spawn outside, time will keep ticking, and you'll be asked to do the same thing and collect 6 more coral. Now if you succeed in this, you'll get tier 2 rewards at the end of the activity. Also will give you another buff before you get to the last encounter. This gives you heavy ammo, and I also think it increases your heavy ammo reserves. You kill the boss, and that's it, guys. That's the end. Now, the only way to get tier 3 rewards, which also comes with a bonus chest at the end, in the first room, you have to invoke the darkness. And you do this by running over to this taken orb on the screen. All your fire team members have to be there in order for you to activate this. This starts the pressure trial, which will spawn a bunch of taken blights. And we ended up destroying all of these blights during our run. Not sure if this is required or not, but you might as well anyways, since they're pretty much in the way. Invoking the darkness will allow you to collect another 6 coral after the second run. And if you manage to do this before time runs out, then you'll unlock tier 3 rewards at the end of the activity. Now remember, to extend your time, you need to take out the yellow bar wrathful predators. They will give you 15 seconds added to your clock. Now I do want to mention also that during the underwater section of the deep dives in the beginning, if you explore, you can actually find plants that you can pick up that will be added to your aquarium. And you're seeing a couple of them on the screen right now. You can also find alkane dust, the old Titan destination material, and those give you sonar station rep as well as bait. Now as far as the way to really optimize things, I would say really hitting those seasonal bonuses are your best bet. That way you can start reaping in more deep Engrams, which is going to net you more opportunities to get red borders, as well as optimizing fishing. I think both of those are really the best way to go. The guaranteed deep side seasonal bonus is going to be the most direct way of getting red borders, but it requires you to kill 2 salvage bosses. Currently right now we only have 1 of the bosses so far, so this could be time gated until next week. I'm hopeful that it could be like a daily rotation, but again, it's very likely that that's on a week-to-week time gate. Now the deep sea locksmith challenge is also time gated, as that requires you to defeat the 3 deep dive bosses, and we only have 1 available. There's also a challenge that requires you to complete a deep dive at the abyss level. Now we've done the tier 3 deep dives, and currently right now we really don't know how to go any deeper, so this is either a secret or it's time gated as well. At this point, guys, it may be in your best interest to hit the seasonal activities, farm for some bait, and then just go fishing. That way you can net yourself some deep Engrams, possibly some red borders, get a few keys here and there, go fishing, and hopefully pop some legendary fish or higher. Now to maximize sonar station rep, equip the NPA seasonal armor for 3% additional rep from all sources, netting you 12% for 4 pieces of armor. Now you can focus armor with deep Engram specifically on the second page at the sonar station. Also don't forget, guys, there is a new quest on Neomuna for the brand new hand cannon, Epocho integration. We actually have a guide on that. Feel free to check that one out. We also reviewed it. We played with it inside of PvP as well as PvE. On top of that, for my new players, there are 3 exotic quests for Solar, Void, and Arc for each subclass. These are targeted toward new light players especially, as they will reward you with various subclass-focused exotic armor pieces. So if you don't have those exotics, I would definitely pick those quests up. So guys, that is your seasonal guide for this season. Again, we don't have time gates, or at least major time gates, in regards to that grid system, but RNG is still a factor we have to traverse. In the meantime, if you find yourself fishing, or if you see a group of people fishing at a fishing spot, stop what you're doing. Run over there. Start fishing with them. Accumulate focus fishing with them, and snag yourself some good fishies to bring back to the aquarium. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.